everyone, it's Raelklein. You're watching another Supernatural review, and this is season 6, episode 15, The French Mistake. If you're new here, I do a recap and review of every single episode of Supernatural, so let's get into it. Also, why does my camera look so weird? I was trying to clean it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just ugly. But anyway, this is... I don't even know how to describe this episode. I think this is like one of the most loved episodes of Supernatural ever, and it's kind of crazy because it's in the season, which is not that good of a season. I always talk about it, but it's like one of the most loved episodes. It's hard to say it's like the greatest episode of all time or like the favorite episode of all time. I think actually maybe it's a favorite episode of all time, but when you like think about like the greatest and like actual, like it's not that, but it might be a like top 10 list. It's just like an episode that everyone just loves, and like, you know, it's amazing. So they clearly planned this one. They were like, okay, we're going into the 6th season, like we have this crazy idea, and they wanted to do it. And it's crazy they never had like a French Mistake part 2 or something, but they had this crazy idea and they wanted to do it, and it's so glad they did it. They obviously had to bring it into like what was happening in the seasons, like why would they go to this, I guess, alternate universe, and so they kind of brought it in with like the angel thing, which in the end is kind of dumb, but like I've rewatched this episode so many times that it kind of like just, I'm getting hot actually, hold on. I've rewatched this episode so many times that it kind of goes over your head, all the other serialized part with the angels. But I think like it, even though I'm, you know, very critical of the season and the serialization and especially the angel thing, I think it kind of made sense because they needed something to bring them over it. And if you're just watching this episode as a blue, like most of us do, you know, it doesn't really matter, and it's like something where it's like, you know, you're just showing this episode to someone, you don't need to know the context, you know. But it's crazy they did this episode, and obviously Jared and Jensen had to be okay with it. And it just, if you're like confused what I'm talking about, like clearly you didn't watch the episode, but you know, they were like Jared and Jensen, like that's who they are. And then this other reality, it's like them filming Supernatural, and so it's so crazy that they did that. And then, you know, they had like real things about them, like they had to have clearance over the Days of Our Lives clip and things like that. And then it was so crazy that Genevieve decided to be in this episode. You know, it's especially because Jared married her, it's like it'd be so good, but you know, she had to okay it. And you know, they were, you know, they clearly had like fun filming this episode too. But it's just so crazy that like it just, I don't even know how to describe this episode. Obviously they changed a few things, like they had it where they weren't really talking, like they're, you know, they had to add something like that to like, you know, have something speak like, oh, but you know, in real life we're brothers and we're talking and stuff. And so even though it's not true, like that they like hated each other in real life, like that's not true, but it's something they added in. I mean, the best scene is when they're fake acting. That's like the most iconic scene. And you know, it's like actors pretending to be bad at acting. It's so great. And then they had like the whole thing where, well, it was crazy too. They must have just had fun at set, like hiring people to play themselves, like the real Robert Singer, hiring someone to do that and all these other positions. And so then they had like Eric Kripke come, where it's like, oh, he left the show, so that's like real life, like Eric Kripke left the show, and they did that. Obviously that was like an actor too, but it's just kind of crazy. And then they like killed him, and it was something that Eric Kripke was like, fine, like yeah, I like this idea, like he had to okay it and like okay him being, but he's like, you know, kill me. Like I feel like Eric Kripke must have wanted them to kill him. So really, really great episode. Obviously not much to critique here, and it's just it's such a good episode. And it's like, it's something where it's just, I think I can't imagine like, you know, watching this while season 6 was coming out and you didn't know what this episode was going to be about, or maybe you read the blurb beforehand, whatever, and then like experiencing this for the first time, like with no spoilers. Like, because when I watched this episode for the first time, my first time ever watching Supernatural back in 2015, like I had seen scenes from this episode, I knew about the episode, so I was super excited for the episode to come up. But like imagine watching this with, you know, when this came out, what was that, like 2011 or something, and you see it and it's just like, wow. I mean, I think we all wanted a part 2, and then we would have, you know, Jensen's married to Danielle, who in season 13, they did give her like a character, which I think made sense always for her to come in and play a part or something. So they never had a Friend's Mistake part 2. We all wanted it, but it never happened. But anyway, such a great episode. Not much to say here. If you hate this episode, what is wrong with you? So I'm gonna end it here, but thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye.